Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day today. This is Phyllis with CreativeDomenica. Today I wanted to come on here and show you this adorable little book. Now, I was watching some videos the other day and I saw Carol Tinson. It's Tinson. She made this book and I kind of put my spin on her creation. I don't know if she created this, if she's the only person that has made something like this. She did not elaborate on that, but it's a perfect storage book. Little people, these guys. So I usually just keep mine in these things, or I have them in little baggies, and it's just so hard to create when they're just in this kind of environment. So, and I have to, all these I have to put in this book. But let me just give you a little look at this book. So, like I said, mine looks different than hers did, but they both serve the same function. So I just put one of the little paper dolls on the little bird. Now these cutouts were from, I believe, DCW, when they used to sell these. But you could find cutouts. You could do some fussy cut. There's plenty of places. I just put some lace on here. And on the back, this was a fussy cut butterfly. I had ordered off of Etsy a neutral color pack. So I just use my, my alcohol markers. These are the Ohuhu ones. You could use any alcohol markers that you have. And I just colored one in and I put the little boy on there. Okay. And so these are really easy to make and they're a lot of fun. So as we open it up. Now this was done with Tim Holtz paper. Okay, so let me open this up so you can see. Now this, she used a different paper pack. I just don't want to go into my wallflower and my, the last one I have is wallflower and I have one other one. And I'm just hoarding it because I don't want to cut it up. But what I did use is I had some paper left from this one. And this was my least favorite pack that Tim Holtz ever produced. But because I never know what to use these pages for. But there are sections in his old, this is Lost and Found. So there were sections in his original paper that in the back, they had the full size sheets, and then it went to 6 by 6, and then it went even smaller. And I'm not sure what the size of those small ones were. Let me see if I have, I don't think I have any left. This was my other wallflower. I have very little left in this pack. And so, but they had several different sizes. What we're going to be working on today is 6 by 6. That's going to be the size. And so those papers came in really handy because here, I have a couple of examples here. This was from that paper pack. So you would have 4 on a paper, and that made up your 12 by 12 sheet. So all we have to do is just cut them in half and then fold them. And this is what's going to be our signatures. These are the signatures. There are 4 signatures in this book. So that's what these signatures are going to be. So one signature is just one sheet of this paper. Now, if you don't have any Tim Holtz paper, and when we make the new one, we're not using Tim Holtz paper. But what you can do is take any 12 by 12 paper that you have that you like. Let me just put this little book on the side. And you can just cut it in half by 6. Then you'll have a 12 by 6 sheet. And then just score it at 6, fold it, and you have the same thing. Use double-sided paper. So you have the, and this is a Tim Holtz. Just use double-sided paper. This is Tim Holtz as well. So if you want to use any of those, just do that. I think these are some Stamperia papers. you could do the same with that, just as long as they're double-sided. Okay? So let's go back to this cute little book now. So what we did, and what she did that differs from mine, is these little pockets here are made out of vellum. And she used just regular clear vellum because she liked, and it was a good point, she liked that you didn't have to pull them out to see, but I don't care. And if you don't want to use vellum and you don't care to see through the paper, you could use regular scrap paper. But her thought process was, this way she can see through the paper and she can know, like, if one of these guys was sitting down, if one was standing up, and all that. And so I had this this paper. I got this quite a while ago from, I think it was either Temu or the other one that's very popular. I can't believe I can't remember the name. It was one of those that I had placed in order. And so they come in a package of, might have been 10 or so. And this is really, really thick vellum. And they're kind of like, they have like a sheen on the front. And they're not printed on both sides. It's only printed on one side. So everything is backwards. But I thought that this would be a good use for these papers, so that's why I use those. But when we do this new one, I think I'm just going to use regular vellum, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so you could fit quite a bit in this book. And see, this is all that paper. And I mean, when she did her video, she said the ones that she had were extra large, large, medium, and small. And I do have really extra large, and they couldn't fit in my book. Now, these might be jumbo, because, see, his head was sticking out. So she just had the large, extra large, she was calling them. And I only have 2 of those, so I don't mind putting them to the side. But then I also have, look at these little itty-bitty ones. I mean, they are tiny. They're an inch. They're an inch high. So what I did was, and then I have the little dog who's really tiny. I mean, they're really, really small. So what I did was, later on, I went back in here and I added an extra one, which is, this is a 1/2 inch. So I could have these little guys in here, because if I put them in any of these other pockets, they're going to get lost. And so we're going to make some, well, I'm going to have different sizes because we're going to be doing something different. And so I still have this whole pack to open. And so I'm going to fill this whole book up. And then I'll see if I have to make another one for Tim Holtz. But we're going to make one for somebody else. So let me put this off to the side. And so what I am going to do is, I was thinking, oh, wow, I also have little people, kind of, for Art by Marlene. And I have these 2 collector's boxes from her. And they're just sitting in these boxes. And like I said, it makes it a little, let me open this one. It makes it a little hard when you're trying to be creative. And you have all of these little elements. You have all of these little elements in this tin. And let me tell you, once you start trying to take these out, they're really difficult to put back in. And I love these little these little paper dolls too, I'm going to call them, even though she calls them paper elements. And look at these, aren't they adorable? I hope my light's not too dark in here. I have a new glass mat. And as you could see, I'm trying to not get the glare. I love these mats, these glass mats, but they're not very user-friendly when you're trying to record. But we'll see. We're gonna work with what we have. And so these are really cute. And I'll show you more of these as we're going along. But so we're gonna make a book using these, and I have two different collections. And if they're still available, This one is a newer paper element collector's box. So if they're available, I would grab them, guys, because once they go, she really doesn't bring them back. I don't think. I mean, some of them go and they're gone for good. And then this was an old collector's book. So what I'm going to do with this one, and I don't think this is available anymore, but I want to use some of the papers. Like we used the Tim Holtz papers. We're going to cut some 6x6 out of here. And then this is her new, again, this was a newer collector's book. And these have papers in the back. And these are pretty cool papers. So I'm going to be cutting some of these up. And so we are going to get started that way. So now as far as this book is concerned, all right, let me just remove that over here. And so what you're going to need, and I did this already. I mean, I don't have to show you how to cut chipboard. I'm sure you know, just get a cutter or get a ruler and you can just cut this easily. So you're going to need 2 pieces. And mine isn't the thickest. It's a little maybe thicker than a cereal box, I'll say. It just has a little bit more. I mean, it came out at the end. It's really, really sturdy because you're putting paper on it as well. And so you're going to need 2 pieces. It's going to be 6 1/4 high, right? And then 1 1/8 wide. So you're going to have your 2 of those. Make sure you match them up and they match top and bottom. And then the spine that we're going to be using is 1 1/2 wide by 6 1/4 high. So again, do your checking. Make sure all 3 of your pieces match, okay? Once you got that going, I would use this tape. Is phenomenal. It's just brown packing tape, but it's really sturdy and it really holds well. So let me see if I could sit down here because it's kind of difficult to stand, but then it's hard for me to see if I'm in camera. So I will try to stay in camera. All right, let me just see. That looks good. Okay, so what I like to do with these, and I'm just ripping this by hand. I'm not being too fussy about it. And so what I like to do, just give yourself, just cut your piece of tape longer than this. Just give yourself a little bit of extra room. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just bring this part of the way and then turn it over. And you're going to get one of your sides. Make sure you got the right size because they're going to be different, slightly different. That's why I put on mine the arrow so I know which way. I know that this has to be pointing up. And so then just give yourself a little bit of gap. Doesn't have to be much. You could eyeball it. Okay. And get your bone fold to make sure everything is put down really well. And then you could merely just fold that over. Just give it a good and then you will get your other side. I'm going to do the same thing to that. And then we will do the same thing. Give yourself just a little bit of space. And if you wanted to, you could get a piece of scrap cardboard, chipboard, and just put it in there so you have the same amount of space on both sides. But really, I just think eyeballing it is going to be fine. You just want it to be, give you enough room that you could just turn it. And luckily, I didn't press down on it because I wanted to get that just a little bit closer. And that looks good. So just check before you burnish anything down. Okay, and then we could... Okay, so then what I want to do is I'm just going to cover this side too. I just want to fortify the spine. And so bring your paper over that spine. You're going to bring that down. And this is all going to be covered. So, and the great thing about this color is it's closer to your chipboard cover than, say, the other tape, you know, the painter's tape that everybody uses. I just like this paper better. Definitely. Makes it look much neater. Okay. So once again, just give everything a good... Now what you could even do is when you bend your spine, just go in there and really tuck that tape into that spine. Okay. And then there is your little book. It's as easy as that. Okay. So now the next thing we're going to do is we will start to figure out what we're going to cover the book with. And if you did decide that you were going to go with those Tim Holtz papers, if you have any in your stash, this fits right on it. So you would just take one of those sections, cut this off, and then you would put that, that would fit. And you'd have a little, you're going to have a little border around the whole sides like I do here. If you see this, it's just a little border, just enough. It looks really nice. And so when I cut my paper out, I have to really figure out what paper I want to use. When I cut my paper out, I will have to make it just slightly shorter. I am going to start with 6x6 though, and then I'm going to see what I need to trim off. And I like this Art by Marlene paper. It's a nice thickness, and she's got some pretty freaky, funky, I should say, designs. So, so they're really, really nice. But we're going to go for it. I love this one. This one's gorgeous. They're all really pretty. I love that one too. And then that's the new book. And then the older book has some nice ones in it too. That's pretty. I like that one too. It's very colorful, Art by Marlene, which is beautiful. Oh, I love that. I have to see if... I don't think we're going to be able to get two pieces, unfortunately, out of... Yeah, and she only gives you one. So I may have to revisit the Art by Marlene one, because I only have one of the books. Now, I do have two of these. I always like to purchase two of her things, but I don't want to necessarily use both of them because I know eventually they're going to not be available anymore. and I always like to keep one. Either I wind up selling it, you know, down the road sometime in my eBay shop, or I just hoard it until I want to use it. So I don't want to use two off the bat. So I'll always have one brand new one available. So I'm going to go pick some paper out now. And I'll probably pick some Stamperia paper, which is fine. And then we'll come back. Okay, guys. So in order to save time with this, I went ahead and I put the inside and outside paper. And I decorated it. So what my goal was on this was to make it very whimsy, because art by Marlene is very whimsical. You know, that she has really a whimsy vibe to it. So what I did was I had this paper pack for years, and it was an old DCWV. I probably got this at Joann's, I want to say, and it had a lot of vibrant paper in it. And so and it had these really cool, I'm going to use these as stencils too. These are really cool. It had a few of these in it, and it has nice bright paper. So I thought that this would be really good to use. So that's what I did. I took not only the cover paper for that, I cut a couple of, I don't know where they are right now. Okay, so I cut 4 of the signatures out. And this paper was good too because it's double-sided. So again, it's a very vibrant paper, which is normally not my vibe at all. But for something like this, you know, it's good to go out of your comfort zone. Because when I had a hard time picking paper, really, really hard time. And that's another reason I wanted to make this a little shorter. Because I've been spending a lot of time on this. So anyway, I finally decided to take this for the outside and then that for the spine. And then the inside just has this pretty flower on it. And so I was just going to keep it more simple, but it's still very vibrant. So getting back to the outside, and I'm going to give you the updated measurements on this based on my people, and I'm still experimenting with, I cut a bunch of vellum. So I will give you all the measurements to this. I want to just make sure that this is going to be correct, and I have to do a lot. So now keep in mind, you have 4 signatures. There are 4 sides to one signature, right? So every signature is going to have, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you were going to put one of these on every one of these. And so it's a lot of cutting, so it's going to take a while. I only have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So I'm going to need a lot more than these. Let's see, you need 16 of them. So I have to make quite a few more of those. And so, and then they will, obviously, they're going to go in here. And when I was looking at this, I was like, I just want to add something, like something really contrasting. So that's why I went, and then my little stash that I was looking at, I had found these, and I could only find 3 of them. So it was driving me crazy. So I finally put, I put the 3 of them on my printer, and I made a copy of it. And the copy came really good. I'm just trying to find here it is. The copy came pretty good. You can't really tell. I think it's this one. And I just fussy cut it out. And so please remember that you could do that. And so also, there's my 4 little girls. And so I made a copy of them because I used the 2 small ones. And I'll show you that in a minute. So now I have, and this is, like I told you, matte photo paper. These are very easy to fussy cut. And so then I will always have my 2. So I want to make sure I always have the original if possible. It may not be possible, but at least I'll always have a copy, so I could just keep reusing that. And I use the originals on this project, but on the next time, I may just use the copy version of it, so I always have an original. That's going to be up to you, but you could always do that. Very easy. Okay. So then I was looking at this, and I had something different on here, but then when I found these and I kind of liked how the black contrast looked, I found my butterfly, which was exactly the same color. And so I took one of those little girls, and there you go. And I think she looks so adorable there. And then for the back, I found a dragonfly that had like dark purple wings. And so I used that little girl, and there you go. I love how that looks. I think that looks so cute. And so then I wanted to add something else, and I decided to put this little pussy willow here, and then up here in this corner up here, I'm just going to go with that. And that's going to be the cover. And it is very whimsical, and like I said, that's what I was going for. So I am going to glue this all down, and then we will discuss. I'll give you all the measurements because I made mine a different size from the original video. I mean, the original one, the one I watched being done online. So in all my little cutouts here, except for the girls, they are from K & Company. Again, you may be able to get some of them on eBay. They used to come in packs. I don't have the packs anymore because I took them all out of the packs and I just have them in a box. And actually, I do have one. Hold on, I'll show you. Okay, I had bought a bunch of these. Someone was selling them on Etsy, actually. And I don't know if I have any of their envelopes. Yeah, here they are. They used to come in packs just like this. So if you can find them, and you used to get a really great assortment. Some of them were vellum. Some of them were like that PV material, like the plastic. But the ones that I always liked the best, like I said, I emptied everything in my folder, in my little box here. But they even have like 3D ones, but that's how they looked. And then you got a lot of different ones. So just look around eBay, Etsy, and hopefully you'll find some. I haven't looked for a long time because I have so many. But check it out and see what you can find. So I'm going to glue all this down, and then we will do the next step. And also I'm going to use this black string now because I think that'll go really nice. So when we do the back of our book, which looks like that, I'll do the black. And I kind of went for a thinner one, but I think I have black in a thicker. I might use a little thicker thread. This is like that braided cord, so it's really, really strong. It's not going to break. All right, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, guys, so I want to talk about the signatures and the vellum. And so now this is the size that I decided to do. And I'm going to see, before I give you the size, I just want to put this one down and test it, and then I will give you all the sizes. So the person that I saw, and I gave you her name earlier in the video, and I don't have it up right now, but she used something. She said you could attach this one of 3 ways. There could be more ways, but you could either use your glue and just, you would put your first one down and just glue the sides and the bottom, then get your next size and do it again, and then again and again. So she didn't really care for that. First of all, when you're using vellum that you could see through, even though it dries clear, you will see the residue. If that doesn't bother you, then by all means do that. You could use washi tape. You could use material even. You can use, what was the other thing? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, anything that you could use to stick it down. I guess you could even use double-sided, the really skinny double-sided tape. That would work, I think, now that I think of it. But what she used, and I never heard of it before, it's called Micropore. And I don't know if you could see that in there. This is 3M, and it's Micropore. And it's my understanding it's used for surgical, like, I don't know if, I guess if you have surgery or something, maybe to hold a bandage on. It's really sticky, and it's like kind of mesh. I don't know if you could see that. You could kind of see through it. So I bought a roll. I bought 3 rolls on Amazon for real cheap. And I will list everything in the description if you want to follow the links to any of the products I use. I get a very small commission, and I appreciate the support. So what I've done on this is, being it's so wide, I don't want to waste it. So I got my mini, my small cutter. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just, first of all, to hold all this together. This is the other good thing about doing it this way, is you don't have to do them individually. You just have to get them together once. So what I was doing is I was kind of just eyeballing. I was doing the sides first. So just eyeballing my tape and then just cutting it. Now, the only thing with this tape, it's very sticky, but if it gets folded, it's really hard to so like if it goes in on itself, it's like almost impossible. There were a couple pieces I had to throw away. So I'm just trying to put it down where I have kind of an even amount on each side. And I found that doing this and then just putting these pieces off to the side, getting a bunch of them, and then it goes much faster when you have to assemble. So those are the 2 sides, and for the sake of showing you, I will just do one, and then I will go off camera, because I still have, I think I have 5 of them cut. I still have to do 13 of them, and then I have to tape them all together and then put them on the pages. So I have quite a bit ahead of me still. So let's see. I don't want to make this video forever to be long. So I think even if you're a new person getting into this type of craft, that you'd be able to follow this. Okay. So I have my 4 pieces. Let me just put this to the side. So let me get our first. So I like to use these quilt clips. They just hold everything really good. But you could also use, and I have them somewhere on this messy desk, just paper clips. You know, the small paper clips work just as good. And I think I was using those actually, because these are a little kind of bulky. And they're probably right in front of me, but I don't see them. That's how many things I have here. I always try to see, they're right in front of me, I told you. Okay. So these take up less room because they're nice and flat. So we'll go with the paper clips. So then what I do, I like to use my grid. So I love this glass mat. And so I like to get it straight on the line. And then I will get my shorter piece here. And what you want to do is just, you want a small, and see that happen? Now, this is going to be hard to get apart. First of all, this tape is flexible. So it's, yeah, I'm not even going to bother. It's flexible tape. So it just, I don't know. Once it's on itself, it's just on itself. And so I don't know if you could see that, but I have just a little bit there. And then we're merely just going to lift it, turn it over, and just push down the other side. And then I just get my big scissor and I just cut the ends off. And so you see how neat that looks? You do see it a little bit, but I like how it looks. And then when we do this on all three sides, you can do the same exact thing. Then you will get your glue, and I'm using just a white glue. And then just go over the back of it. Oh, so that was the other thing that she said. I don't know why that just popped in my mind. Because she didn't like how the glue looked. So she used this Micropore tape. So if you want to sew, if you want to put the Micropore tape on and then sew around three sides, you could do that too. I don't particularly think it's necessary, though it may look nice, but then you have the back that you got to worry about because that's what you're sewing. Oh no, you're sewing through this. So if you want to do that, then, you know, by all means, if that's your aesthetic, then you do that. I'm not going to do it for this. Plus, I don't feel like getting my machine out and setting it up and all that. So I'm going to do it this way. So then once you put your Micropore on here, you're going to put a bead of glue and try to get it as close to the edge as you can so it doesn't seep through or out of that tape. And then you're just going to merely put it down. And let me get my other book out. We did it the same exact way in this book. You can see the tape a little bit here, but it's very neat looking. So, and I'm perfectly fine with it. And this Micropore tape is a lot sturdier than washi tape, because even washi tape, if you decide to use your washi tape, you would need to fortify that tape with glue, because a lot of the washi tapes just are not sticky enough. And so I am going to do this. First, I'm going to cut out the rest of my 13, and then I will start to put them all together, and I will glue them down then. And once I have all that done, I will show you how to put the signatures in the book. And there are different options you could use. You don't have to do it the way that I'm going to do it and the way it was done in the video that I watched. You could certainly, you know, do it a different way, but we'll discuss that. So right as soon as I am done with all that, which will be a couple of seconds in your time, but in my time, it's going to be a few hours. All right, so I will be back. Okay, I just wanted to come on here, and I got all 13 of them cut. So I will do the same process with the tape that is somewhere lost on my desk. And so we will get that finished, and then we will come back and I will show you how to put them in the book. And then we'll have the fun of filling the book up. So stay tuned, hang out with me. Okay, so that took quite a bit of time, but I got them all done. And it's kind of satisfying to get them finished. So let's grab our little book here. And this dried really cute. What I did on the little elements here, I don't know if you could see, I prefer them not shiny, and they are slightly, they have a slight sheen to them. Here's one, and again, I don't know if you're there, you see that they have a sheen. So what I did was, and when you make a copy of them, that's another good reason to make, well, if you don't like the sheen, you could do one of two things. You could either put some gesso on it, and that's what I did. I put clear gesso on it, and as you could see, it no longer has, well, a slight, but not as much. And I like how that looks better. And I did the same thing on the girl on the back. She's got a slight now, but not too much. Okay, so now so that your next step is going to be to figure out which way you want to put your signatures, what order. So, I mean, I only have 4. So, it's not going to be that hard. So, I'm going to do this one. And I think this has the green on the inside. Yep. So, I'm going to do this one. And then we'll do it like this. So, we're just going to do that. We're going to do it that way. So, now we start the gluing process. So, just open up your, or it might be easier. This is a very busy paper. First thing I want to do is make sure that these are evenly folded. So check that, and if yours is a little off, now's the time to fix it. And let's see, it does help if you get your bone folder. Okay. So that will go right there. And see, as you could see through it, so that's nice. So when you put your elements in it, you'll be able to see them. This pocket might be a little too big, but I left it anyway because I could put some other things in there. Some other type of ephemera. So we'll see. Maybe some flowers or something like that. So now this is a pretty easy process. So we're going to run the glue along the 3 sides here. Okay. And let's make sure we have it the right way. Don't want to glue it on the wrong way. And then you're just going to eyeball this. And the wet glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Okay. And so that one looks good. I just wanted that one to come up just a little bit more. Okay. So then we could just do the next one on the inside here. And I like to just fold it until I get the first one in, and then I'll open it and I'll make sure they're level. So we're going to do the same thing to this one. And I like to rest my pinky on the mat. It gives you more control, so you could go straighter with your glue. So that's a good tip that I learned over the years. That's the only way I'm able to get a straight line. Okay, and then we'll just put this one down too. And that's why I like using the wet glue too, because it will give you a little bit of time to wiggle it about. Okay, so then I like to open it. And so when we do the next one, we can just always make sure that you're on the right side. You don't want to glue it down backwards. And so we will, don't do it right on the seam. Always give yourself a little bit of room. Just a little bit room up off the side there. So see, that looks pretty even. You know, sometimes we don't always cut things the same way, even though we try to do it that way. So just take your time. Enjoy the process, as they say. Okay. Oops. Okay. And I will just do what the back on camera, and they're all gonna be the same way. I don't want to bore you to tears. And so then being I have that side on, we'll merely put this side on. So let me just move this out of the way for a second. And of course, if you were going to be sewing this, you would just bring all these to your sewing machine and put your stitches on it, your decorative stitches, and then glue it on. But I'm going to do it this way. And just give it a nice little varnish with your bone folder. Make sure everything is stuck down. I would let this probably dry overnight. Okay, and so here is the first one done. All right, guys, so I am going to do the rest of these, and then I'll come back and we will start to fill this up. Okay, guys, we are back, and I started putting the little people in these in the signatures, and so I'm having a lot of fun with that. And so, and I didn't really mean to do this yet. I wanted to put them in the book before, but I think we can work with it. I'm going to stop where I am right now, and this one has to be done. So let's just see how we're going to get these in now. Okay. So I was thinking of using this thinner cording, and it's really, really sturdy, so that's not going to break. But I also like this thick. This is used for macrame, and I'm wondering, I don't know if this is going to be too thick, but it might look nice to have a thicker one on the back. So I'm just playing right now. So we're going to wrap it around 4 times for the 4 signatures. And we'll kind of just scoot them together. And so just bear with me a second. I'm trying to hold this tight at the same time. So once these are on, then you're going to cinch them together. But we need one more. So let me get one more going here. Okay. So once you have your 4, then these are going to be cinched in the middle. We're going to tie them off like that. And that might look pretty. Or we could do the thin one. The other one has the thinner. It's kind of like baker's twine. You know, what they used to close the cake boxes and stuff in the old days anyway. That's what they used. You could definitely do a different kind of binding if you want. You could do a pamphlet stitch. You know, you can make holes. You can make 4 holes, 4 holes, 4 holes, and actually sew these in, but I'm not going to do that. And I liked, one of the things I liked about this way is this was so easy. So let's see. I just want to make sure I get enough. Because I don't want to keep pulling the spool all over the place. Okay. I believe that's going to be enough. So I guess what you can do is tie everything off, and then you could kind of scoot your pages in, or you can do it, make sure that I have this the right way. Okay. So I'm going to start with the string in the back, and leave yourself a long enough tail. And so then you're going to get your first signature. Let me get my first one here. And you're merely going to put the paper through and close it. Oop, I already lost a person. That's why I should have waited, but impatient me. Okay, so then what you're going to do is go through the front again and come through the back and get your second one. And you're going to pick that up, close it. And again, you're going to go through the front and get your next one. Okay. And then bring it back one more time. And then we're going to do our last one. Okay. So now turn these back all facing you. And now we're going to have to manipulate these strings here. And we have to make sure that this is going to be nice and tight so these stay in there. So you're going to have to play around with this a little bit. Where is my last one? I'm wondering if this would be easier to do if we did it without the signatures in there. Okay, so you should have your 4 strings, right? They're not going to stay this way, but just try to get them as straight as you can for this, for now. Okay. So they're in there. I have both strings, so they're in there pretty tight. So now what you're going to do, so this one's going to come out on the left side, right? The string. And this one, the other one, is coming out on the right side. Actually, let me turn it. Let me turn it this way so I have the shorter string. Okay. So one string is going to be coming out on your left side. That's your tail that you started with. And then your other string is going to be coming out on the other side. And I'm going to cut mine because it's way too long. All right, so what you're going to have to do is get this one, pull it through all 4 of these, right? So bring it underneath. Bring that out, and then get the other side. Do the same thing. Bring it underneath. And then we will be able to tie these. And then we could straighten those out. And give it a couple of, make a knot. Oh, my people fell out. Okay, that's okay, because I had it upside down. Okay, so now I'm going to leave this here because I just might decide to put some little dangles or something on there. But I think that's that makes a cute little spine, you know. So now getting back to the inside, I will put these guys back in there in a minute. So I probably could have made these pockets a little different, but they will work for me, so I'm not stressed out about it. I could see through them. I know who's in there. And I like the back pocket because this is where I'm putting the ones that I made a photocopy of. So these are the original This is the original girl. And then I already made a copy of this. So as you can see, they're very easy to fussy cut. I hope you could see that. I don't know how my lighting is. They're very easy to fussy cut. So what I want to do going forward is, and then these are the originals. So now I have a copy of the big one. And these are the 2 copies that I made of the small ones because I used the original on the front cover. So that's where I'm going to keep my pieces that I have to fussy cut. So when I want to use one, I'm going to make a photocopy of the 2 of them. And then I'll put the photocopied, like just like here. So then if I don't want to use my original, I just fussy cut it. It takes just a couple minutes. And so then these, how some of these look, and some of them fell out, like I said, because I had them upside down. So I will have to fix these. But they will stay. I mean, if you don't turn your book upside down and mess it up like I did. But like I said, for me, this setup will work fine. You might want yours a little bit more organized and neat, but like I said, I could see who's where. And I'm going to try to put this somewhere. This is the card of what all the images look like. So I could put this somewhere in the book. I was kind of hoping to put it here, but it's too big. But I could easily look at this. I'm working on a project. Look at this, say, oh, I want her. I think she'll look good. And then just find her in the book. I don't have a problem with that. So I will have to look for these 2 ladies. Here. She goes right here, and I don't mind having them on top of one another by any stretch. And then she's right there. Okay. Some of these are odd shaped, so you're going to have to play around with whatever little people or ephemera you're going to use in yours. So I figured I have this amount left, so we could certainly finish the book and put these in there. So let's see. Now some like this, I mean, I'm not going to waste all that room, so I'm just going to stick him in a bigger pocket and put him on the right side there. I could even put him there. And then she's pretty. And like I said, I know I have one of each, and I'll always have 2. So if I'm working on a project and I know she's going to be too big, then I'll just go for the small one. So I know there's always going to be 2 of them together. And then she's adorable. And I could put her there, or I'm just going to put her here. Because I kind of was devoting the back and the top to my fussy cut area. Actually, I think I want to put her here. And the monkey's really cute too. You're just going to have to see whichever way. You know, even though they might look like it's still jumbled up, it's better than having it. It's better than having all of those elements in this one tin, because you couldn't see anything in there. You had to like take everything out and just empty it on your desk. Okay. And I may move these guys around as when I'm done. I just want to make sure I have enough room for everything, which I think I do. Now, if I wanted to put, because I have the other tin, I will have to make another book for that, because I really want to try to spread these out a bit more and put some other things in here too, like some butterflies and things like that, because I'm always reaching for butterflies. Come on. His little feet or his tail is getting caught. Okay. I could even put him there. That's fine. And then I have little pigs. When pigs fly. Okay. And now I have to get that little... I could put him somewhere else. Yep. Okay. So that is pretty much all I have. Like I said, I will space these out a little bit more. I just wanted to get everything in the book. And like I said, I'm going to devote the back and the first one to my fussy cuts. So what I'll do is as I have time, I'll just grab a couple, I'll make a copy, and then I'll put the fussy cut ones, you know, I'll just try to keep them on the trim side so they don't take up too much room. And so then I will always have those. And so I'm loving how this came, guys. I hope you like how it came as well. Now, if I know you can't get this particular set, it's going to be hard to get, but I would do a search. There's so many companies that have these die cuts, these pre-made die cuts. Just do a search, and if I can find any for you, I'll list it in the description. And there's a good place you might want to check. If you can't find any, like on eBay or Amazon, there's a company called Ecstasy Crafts. I think they're out of Canada. They have a lot of good stuff on their website. I'm just a customer. I'm not affiliated with them. I've purchased from them a couple times in the past, and they do have these die cuts. So that might be a good place to check out. It's not going to only be people necessarily. You might have animals or any kind of things like that. I love that kind of stuff. And I have some ephemera books that have those in them, but you could also get them in the packs. So this was a fun little project, and I may just have to, ooh, that would fit perfect there. I just may put a pocket there and put that in there. Yeah. And then I want to put this in here too, so I remember that this was the original collector's box. So we'll put that there. And yeah, I love how this came. It's very eclectic and flamboyant, I want to say. Out of my comfort zone, 100%. But I think my light just went off too. And but this is going to work really good. So guys, I hope you like this. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you want to see some more things like this, I'll be happy to do another video. And I'm trying to get back into doing my videos. I've been kind of busy with other things. So, but when I saw this, I saw both of these, and I said, I have to make these. I love it. I love this. I love it. I love it. And I love the Tim Holtz one. Absolutely. And I will have to make at least 2 more of these books, because like I said, I have this whole tin, and I have a whole bag of Tim Holtz. And both of these companies give you a ton of these die cuts. I mean, there's just so many in here. As you could see from the box, there is, I think, 128 in here. 128 items. So that's a lot of stuff. And, you know, Tim Holtz always has a ton of his little people. So these books will just go great on your shelf. You just put them on a shelf and they don't take up too much room. So I wanted to come back here and give you the measurements that I used for this book. For this book, I went by the original video, and I will link her video so you could refer to that. Mine, I made a little different. I just made the pages on the cover slightly larger so you don't have as much brown. But you could, either way, I mean, this I followed hers, then they both looked beautiful. So the covers on both of these journals are going to be 6 1/4 wide by 6 1/8 wide. And they both have a 1.5 inch spine. Okay. Now, when you cut the paper for these, you could either use your 6 by 6 piece of paper in the front of the back, or what I did, I believe this is still 6, but I think I believe I made this 6 1/8. So when you have your paper, make it a little bigger, and then you could eyeball it and see if you want less or more of your chipboard showing underneath. So that's going to be your preference. So just use that. Just go a little bigger. You might want to cut, make them 6 1/4 inches on all sides, and then make it smaller as you know, whatever is aesthetically pleasing to you. So that takes care of the front, the back, and the inside covers. As far as the spine, now she did, I think it was 1.5 inch or maybe 2 inches for her spine. I went with 3 because I had a dickens of a time trying to get this to stay down. So you're going to have some patience with that. So I figured a 3-inch spine gives you more room, wiggle room. And when you do the cover and the back, let them dry very well. And then very gingerly start to close your book. Don't just tug on it because you don't want to rip your paper either. And whatever comes up, just re-glue. Now, you could use a couple different glues. I used first glue stick, then I used art glitter glue, and finally for the stubborn pieces, I used the 3-in-1 by Beacon, which held it. But always let your glue dry before you do anything else to it, and it ultimately sticks down. So that's how you're going to do the front, the back, and both the inside and the spine. Then you're going to decorate it as you want. Your inside papers will be your 6x6. So if you take a 12x12 piece of paper, cut it in half, and then you'll have 2 12x6 pieces. Take each one of those 12x6, score it at 6 inches in the middle, and fold it. And then that'll give you your signature, okay? And so that takes care of that. As far as the vellum is going to differ from whatever you're putting in your book. If you have some other ephemera like butterflies or birds, you're going to have to gauge your depth on your pockets, but your width will always be 5 3/4. That's the perfect size for this 6-inch, 6x6 piece of paper in here. So however, you know, whatever depth you need. What I used in here was 2 1/4 by 3 inches by 3 1/4. And I think the last one was 4 inches. And so again, you're going to have to gauge that depending on what you're using your book for. So I think that covers everything on this. And then, of course, this, for the closure, you're going to just wrap it around 4 times. So whatever you're using, give yourself ample string. And yeah, and just decorate it as you want. You could either use these little metal ends that you could buy on Amazon, or just cut a little piece out like I did here, and just, yeah, let your creativity run wild. All right, so I think I have all the measurements that you guys need. If you have any questions or comments, please leave me some comments so I know what you're thinking about this. All right, and I'll try to list all the resources I can. I'll list the original video that I watched. And I just want to thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me. And anybody new here, please hit subscribe. Hit that like button, guys. That helps so much. All right, so listen, with that being said, I will shut up now. You enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, bye-bye.